You know that I'm no joke. No joke, baby, I'm no joke. Oh, na, na, na. No joke, baby, I'm no joke. Oh, na, na. No joke.
What is up, guys? Welcome to Talk That Talk. I'm Miss Faith Fontaine, honey. And over to my right, we have Nolay. Over here, we have Elizabeth, Ariete, and Qoy.
Hey.
And today, we're here with, I guess, the season finale. Ooh. And we'll save the best for last. It's all been good. But no, today we're going to talk about the representation of Black women in media. So I guess, where should we start? I guess, what do you guys think about Black women and the way that we're portrayed in the media at the moment?
I actually had a conversation about this earlier in the week, and somebody was saying how we shouldn't have shows like Love and Hip Hop and stuff like that because it's just ratchet TV and it represents Black women a particular way. I kind of disagree. I kind of feel like we just need more different types. We need Black characters in anime. We need nerdy characters. We need right now Black women are often portrayed as overtly sexual, curvy, which isn't real, and there seems to be Black women are a character rather than just you happen to be Black and you have different character types. And the maddest part about that, it actually excludes other Black women. I have Black friends that when they were younger had a thing where they were like, am I Black? Because I don't do this and I don't listen to that music and I don't like that, because it feeds back into us. So for me, all I want is just a diverse range from the ratchet, because you know what? Who am I to judge that? To the librarian of Liberia. I need a Black female David Attenborough. Do you know what I mean? Finding turtles and shit. Do you know what I mean? Because I beat it's our land. So,
I feel that they try to portray Black women as aggressive as well.
Yeah.
In the media, whether you be passionate or whether you just be strong, they try to portray it as aggressive. I've seen it particularly with for example, say Nicki Minaj. There's been times when Nicki Minaj has given interviews and she has been so vulnerable in her interviews, whether it be crying, whether it just be talking about things that she's been through. I've never seen anyone spread that side of her and champion that side. There's been times when she said about, women sticking together and, if you're going through something, just positive stuff where she's speaking positively. Haven't really seen that spread. But then when she's acting up and acting a certain way, I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Shut down everybody's throats. And I don't think that is the only side of her. I've even had it, people try to portray me as an aggressive female because I'm strong.
Speaking on something.
I speak on certain things and I speak my mind. Mm-hmm. So I definitely feel like Black women are portrayed.
Yeah, it's almost like there's only room for one archetype for Black women in not necessarily society, but definitely in the media. And that is that larger than life character who's aggressive.
With a perfect body.
With a big ass, itty bitty, waist is cutie physique. And there's Black women, like any other woman, we come in different shapes and sizes. Yeah. We have different, hopes and aspirations. We have different hobbies and pastimes. It's not just one type of woman. But at the same time, do you think as Black people, do we perpetuate that though?
Fucking leave me alone and let me do whatever I want. I'm sick and tired of it. Am I angry? I think so. But no, I'm actually sick and tired of it because the same way that Sally can be anything she wants to be that day and then change tomorrow and it's fine. Let me twerk today, then tomorrow I will pick up a book, then on the day after I might twerk on top of the book, and then after that I might, do you know what I mean? Let me do whatever. Let's be real. The fact that I have to think about how the world, and everybody has to think about how they're perceived, but the fact that I can do a multitude of things and be boxed into this type, and I need to now acknowledge why you're gonna think this way about me. I mean, when you enter the corporate space, because obviously with my day job, do you know how that played on my mind to the fact that I was put in a mad position and I didn't even realize my position was mad, until I did, people had to make me feel worthy enough to even make me feel no, that shouldn't be happening. That is not okay. Do you know what I mean? And it's even crazy. I need people, by the way, who weren't of colour to like be like, you know, that's a bit mad. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't even feel like you have a right to, you don't even feel like you can act angry or upset about shit.
Right, there's times when I've been passionate and I've been called aggressive. And anybody who knows me knows that that is quite stupid.
No, but the funny thing is, if a black woman exerts something, she's aggressive. If a white woman does the exact same thing, she's passionate about what she thinks.
But it's the same for men as well.
And it's really unjust that I'm not particularly girly girl. I'm so far from girly girl. I've got a deep voice. I'm kind of like the man.
Kind of sexy though.
Oh, thanks, babe. And
sorry, Remy.
When I start speaking about things, though, all of a sudden, because I'm passionate and I articulate very quickly. When you speak fast, people class you as aggressive. But if you listen to what I'm saying, there's no aggression in what I'm saying. But because I'm a black woman that looks a certain way as well, you must be that bitch. You must be. God forbid you have a tattoo. Oh, God forbid you have a tattoo.
And you know what? I think it's fair. This is gonna sound so like big-headed, but I feel like black women are so magnificent. People in general.
Speak on that.
Yeah, I just think that I'm not just speaking about black women. I'm talking about black women, black men in general. Like even with like the whole culture, from music. Do you know what I'm saying? There was a time when you was behind the scenes and you was like black people were writing for, you know, white artists. You wasn't allowed to perform your own songs. Athlete-wise, like, I just think that we're so great, and I think people are scared of that. They fear that. And I feel like there's a lot of self-hatred floating around as well, and I feel like that's because a lot of that is down to how black people have been treated. You know, I feel like stemming back from a long time, a lot of, they've been taught to hate themselves. Not all of us follow that, where you hate yourselves, but...
You know, with that, I think sometimes we need to look really, really back, because actually the black woman was the most desirable woman in history, historically, by you know, the white Europeans that travelled in Africa. They were, you know, like the black woman was like named after, like stars were named after black women. Like sometimes if we don't know like the history or the women or the bloodline that you come from, you're always gonna have this. I'm not talking about.
They've been taught though. The history that has been taught in the schools. I get it, but it's your responsibility. It's now our hold on, because hold on, the school they ain't gonna teach you that. So it's our responsibility to like learn and then teach our children. It is the responsibility, but in the curriculum now. I'm talking about curriculum in schools, whether it be in the schools, the colleges, and in general, what they're teaching black people and what they teach the kids is all about your oppression, how you was oppressed. Yeah. They don't teach us about you were named after stars and all of that, or you were named as stars.
Before history was interrupted, they don't.
But even like with the Wakanda stuff and like that whole movement, I was really shocked to see some black people not even like that. Like some black people were just like, well, it's not a real place, and it's like, I think it does come from a place of so badly, because I think all of us ultimately just want to be treated the same as everybody else. But I feel like if black people could physically see the barriers that they have to climb across every single day, they would welcome these kind of victories. You know what I mean? I was like, people were getting upset because, you know, people were turning up to cinema in their native wear and stuff. Like they took it far. But I can't lie to you. How many times can we celebrate something in on screen that doesn't have us in chains? Like even Django, that was lit, but we were still in chains at some point, and we were getting mad treatment.
They teach that in the schools as well. When I was in school, what I was being taught about, I wasn't being taught about the black kings and queens, you know, the great stuff about us. I was being taught about slavery, how the white man reigned over you, how he owned you, how, you know,
girls, has anybody noticed about advertising? Advertising like knife crime, HIV, all sorts of things. I'm going to get a check today. Everything that's associated with negative thoughts has a black face on it.
I disagree. Can I jump in real quick? Because I disagree with that. Because I actually think that when it comes to stuff like sickle cell, when it comes to stuff like that, I would love to see more black faces, because people don't even think that's something
in our community.
No, you don't understand.
Sickle cell is a disease, not a negative
okay, so what I'm trying to say is that I feel we get left out of particular conversations where it's really important that we're Lynn. Sorry if I detoured off that in the wrong way. But like, if right now we know that 1% of like people, or black people are given blood, if it was the other way around, there would be a whole national health movement to get more people of a particular, like right now we have like incredible people like Vashti from Wall of Comedy, who's like constantly like telling people go and give blood, go and give blood. Like I'm just saying, I just found it really weird that I didn't know that we weren't, like, I know it sounds magic, but I didn't know that was something that we needed, that was a national health crisis. Because on television and stuff, I work in advertising, and I've seen situations where like this isn't for my current job or anything like that, but clients will say stuff like, I don't want a woman of colour in this ad. I want, or they won't say it like that. Do you know what they'll say? I want a blonde woman in this ad. As soon as you say blonde, you already have kind of described what you want in that, because we all know they're not trying to get a blonde wig in there. Do you know what I mean?
So in England, knife crime, when you see those ads on the bus stops and stuff, I've only seen black faces. The closest to white is maybe a mixed race or light.
But bringing that to the female perspective.
Right, however, when you see other things that are, you know, like breast cancer or things like that are empathetic, sympathetic diseases, black women go through that, but you will see a white face because people are more empathetic to that. You know, so I just feel like as black women, we're represented in a negative connotation. And the funny thing is, knife crime is more committed by whites in this country than actual blacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's the representation is blacks, and that includes black female. You're more likely to worry about a black girl stabbing you than a white girl stabbing you. You would never think that. You think, okay, if somebody put you in a room with a white and a black girl and say, who do you think's got the knife that's going to stab you? Just guess what the ratio is.
Well, it has to make sense. Black people only make 5% of this country, of which half of them are in London. So what you're telling me that 1.5, let's just say outside of London, 1.5% of this population is doing the majority of the knife crime. That's mental. And also, as somebody, I'm someone who is obviously black, and I grew up in a place.
Didn't notice that.
Would you know that? I grew up in a place where my family were the only black people. I went to school, I was the only black face at school. So, like, for me, the face of crime, and I always say this, the face of crime was a white person, not a black person. Obviously, there's the larger thing of representation as black people and black women being these dangerous thugs. But in actuality, for me, criminals were white. They weren't black. In my environment, I think,
that's interesting.
And it's really important when we're having this conversation to know that, like, as black people, we stem further than urban areas like London.
It's true.
There's a whole plethora, and I hope who are watching in these small towns like the one that I grew up in, feeling like I'm not represented. Even when I'm seeing black people on TV or seeing black women on TV, I still can't relate to those women over there because they're living like completely opposite lives to me. And that's how I felt a lot of the time growing up.
And I think this just speaks to why it's important to have a diverse representation of black women in terms of character types and stuff, which is why Insecure was so big as well. But one of my closest, my girl, she, and I'm just not going to say her name just in case she doesn't want me to say this, but yeah. So we were like really young, we were like 14 or whatever, and we were talking about, it's not recently, but we were talking about when we were in school. And she said that one day she came in with hoops, so she's head girl, nerd, like really good, and she came in with hoops. And she was telling me the story about coming, I was like, I've never seen you. She was like, I literally took it out. She was like, I just wanted to like feel like one of the black girls, that kind of thing. She's a black girl. And she said she wanted to just feel like so it's almost like we don't define what it is to be a black girl. Obviously, we know media does. Media defines so much of how our relationships, lovey-dovey shit, all of that. But that is mad. Like, I don't think we grasp it at the time in it, but that's mad that she was being fed that because she doesn't fit an archetype of what it is to be a black girl, which apparently, and I get what she means about the hoops and that.
I've been told so many times, like, you're not really like a black woman, are you? And stuff like that is hella disrespectful.
My name alone, my name alone astonishes people. My name's Elizabeth Victoria, by the way, guys. And people are astonished by the fact that they've seen my name and then they see this face and they're like, those two do not correlate. How can a black girl be called Elizabeth Victoria? And even that in itself, like, that's my name. You know?
In terms of like representation in the media, other than diversity and stuff like that, I will definitely say that we need to find better ways of handling colorism. I feel like we get very fight very internally that it makes it like super difficult for us to join forces and then deal with the issue that's really keeping us in a barrel. And don't get me wrong. I feel like
we're not looking at the system. We're not
I need like I've spoken to quite a few. Every guy I've spoken to when it comes to the representation of darker skinned women in music videos, and I'm not even gonna come with jokes.
Keep it 100.
I feel like not a single one of them seem to ever get like where I'm coming from, and I'm just like, brother, like you experience the same thing in whatever other world. Like, do you know what it is? They're so quick to I feel like when you argue, and don't get me wrong, I can argue and stuff, but we sometimes argue to like...
It's not even an argument.
Not even argue, but like... I'm presenting what is like evident to the world. And it just feels like they don't want to acknowledge what I'm saying. And
they don't want to, when you say that they don't want to acknowledge it, do you mean like when you take it to one of them, like someone who actually has a music video and you say you don't represent enough black
I'm not that linked up yet, but amen, innit? But like, what I feel like what happens, this is how the conversation goes in summary. Like I'll come on a calm tip. Do you feel like rappers are always using light skin? So it will be a question. Do you feel like rappers are always using light skinned girls in their videos? Or sometimes it's also, do you think that why does it seem like they're dating light-skinned girls? I don't want anyone to date a dark-skinned girl if that's not what they're interested in, just because it's a fad. And then they'll say, nah, but you don't know what they do. You don't know who their real girlfriends are. You haven't met in terms of you haven't met every single rapper to say who their girlfriend is. And that's true. Maybe I haven't met every single rapper, but I kind of feel like there is a visual thing right now, like that we can't ignore, because even if it's not the truth, it's what's being promoted to
a sense of denial around it as well. Because as soon as they say, yeah, that's true, then they're guilty of it. Like,
but I've never. But the matter is, I haven't heard one guy. Maybe I'm not. So I haven't spoken to enough guys, but I feel like I've spoken to a lot. That they're all quick to use that same. And my thing is that like. I'm sorry, the fight that black men go through is unique to them, but I feel like, and yeah, maybe we fuck up and maybe we don't quite know how to do it, but I kind of feel like black women back them, and I'm not saying black men don't back black women, but I just feel like in this situation particularly, I'm not going to make this a generalization, but it just feels like I'm hearing the same response to the same question, and I'm just like, are you? I don't understand.
I feel like sometimes, like just extending from what you're saying, is the fact that we're looking at each other as the issue and not the system, and the actual system and the way it's set up to kind of like have us kind of compete or come against each other is bizarre and it's crazy.
Colorism predominantly, in my opinion, comes from within the black community.
It does.
Whereas racism is an issue that affects us as a whole, coming from other communities.
You know what really grinds my gear? Is if you're a black woman that has good hair or lighter skin or something like that, people automatically assume you're mixed with something, or you're exotic, or you're this. You can't be black, you can't be fully black. And it's like, no, I am black. But you look different. You've got a straighter nose, you've got this, you've got that. And I really hate that. Black women can be whatever. One thing about our culture I love, we are so many different colors, different shades, different shapes, all sorts. But it's a case of anything that's different from the dark skin, afro hair, you must be mixed with something or you're something else. I hate that.
And for me, being a black, light-skinned woman, one of the things that really, really gets on my nerves is the fact that every light-skinned girl is put on the same box. And I say that because, for example, my parents are both black. So my mum's of mixed heritage, my dad is black. But because of how I look, I'm automatically seen, like there's no differentiation in terms of someone who is who's biracial, for example, who has an English mom or a Caribbean dad. We have completely two. I come from Angola. I was born in Angola. I came in when I was 5. Both of my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, everyone. So my roots are very Angolan, African-rooted roots. It's because my parents are black, but because I'm of light skin complexion and I look, the whole mixed race look basically, I'm automatically put in this sort of.
You know what's even mad? You're even racially ambiguous.
Yeah, that's what,
She was saying, she was suggesting that we were talking earlier.
She could be African.
And she could be Latino.
She could never be African because she looks like this.
Racially ambiguity is another thing. Like,
and then what else? Because what irritates? So obviously we all have different experiences, right? So we all have different experiences as black women, as mixed race women, as people of mixed heritage. We all have different experiences, and I feel like even for me, for example, we know we're talking about the whole dating of the black men, blah blah blah. I think sometimes it's having this conversation amongst each other for us to gain a deeper understanding as well. Because sometimes it just comes from a place of like, raw sister, I don't know what you're going through. Like, I might have an idea, but I can never know what it is to be a dark skinned sister dating. And sometimes you may not know. Oh, your perception might be, oh, you guys, have this. It's not about which, the problem, because we know obviously, like in terms of like deeper issues with our dark skinned sisters, but it's almost like we have different experiences and different. Do you get me? Like,
definitely have
yeah. And I feel like
different experiences, but we will never go through what the dark skin women go through.
100%. But in terms of the whole dating situation,
to complexion to their advantage and to put down women who are of darker skin.
But don't you feel like, I feel as a light skinned sister nowadays, you need to use your light skin. Listen to what I'm saying, to let me land, yeah? We need to use our light skin privilege. Yeah. And the reason why I say that, let's say for example, the system, because I'm an actor, because I've got privilege over my dark skinned sister, they give me that role. It's now my responsibility to send the rope to my dark sister to pull. And the thing is, if we start having that mentality, then you're up there, then you're creating more content. Then, do you understand? And we're building, but at the moment, what we're doing, you know what is resentment? Like, oh, she thinks it's because she's light skinned. Oh, dark. And it becomes this whole tit for tat, and we're not really talking to each other or understanding. Because one thing that
hatred comes between the
exactly.
two.
One thing that I got really mad about, my mum's dad is black, dark skinned. My dad's dad is dark skinned. My dad is dark skinned. And sometimes when I date a dark skinned black man, it's almost like, oh, like. You know what I mean? It's that whole, the dark-skinned brothers. But all the men in my family are black, dark-skinned men. So in a way, it's just like, when we talk about, for example, the black, dark-skinned man not dating someone of his own complexion, do you understand? As self-hatred. Even though I'm light-skinned, if I don't date someone who's a dark-skinned man, even though I'm light-skinned, but the men in my family are all dark-skinned who created me. So in a way, I might not. Do you talk about not self-hatred, but it's like I'm not dating the same men that created me. But even though I might not look in terms of complexion, they're still my dad. Both my parents' dads are black, dark-skinned men, and my dad is black. So do you get what I'm trying to say? So sometimes it's just like it becomes a bit like we lack unity. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
I just feel like we lack unity.
Because we need to kind of wrap up a bit.
Okay, let me just say one point. When you look at like supermodels though, it's very rare you see a light-skinned girl. They're all very, very dark.
No, there is more like.
To be honest, I think that's a fallacy. I actually think that's a fallacy.
I'm talking about catwalk models.
I want to talk about what you're talking about because I used to work in fashion, and for me, and I still keep up to date with it, even though I don't work in that space anymore. I think the girls that are definitely the ones that are pushed in the forefront as the face of blackness within the supermodel realm are the dark-skinned Sudanese women. However, when you look at the commercial models, one that are really making the real money, they are of a lighter skin complexion.
Yeah, but
because they're able to
make as much money as supermodels.
Sorry, but they're still supermodels in their own right. They're still supermodels in their own right.
So do commercial models.
Like, no, they make money, but I'm saying like Naomi Campbell, people aren't touching her.
Naomi Campbell's on a different.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, she's created that environment where those dark-skinned black women, supermodels like that, a catalogue girl's never going to touch that money. Right? It will take a hell of a lot. She'll have to do twice as much as
But she did even say in an interview though, like, literally, when Tyra Banks was coming and certain other black models were coming, they were saying to her, you need to watch out, you need to watch out. They're not doing that with white models. They're not telling Kate Moss, you need to watch out.
This is what I'm saying, they're always placing us against each other. Like, even in the music industry, do you understand? Like, why can't there be 5-10 rappers, like female rappers? Why can't they come together? Why is it if another girl can't, let's put her against? You don't see that with other races putting against each other.
You know, come on, you can have more than one male go at the top. You didn't see when Drake was coming, them doing that with Nas and Drake and playing them all off against each other. But then when Cardi come,
female.
So I think that's another.
Oh no, because black men are beautiful in society. The blacker the better. When it comes to black men in society, black, white, any woman, it is great for a black man to be dark skinned.
That is the dark-skinned black men that has, because I know this because I know in dark-skinned black men they say, no, you only came into fashion recently. Like, we're enjoying this wave,
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, their experience was that when they were growing up, they weren't seen as attractive.
You know, the mixed boys, the lighties were in.
What I will say though is that I think if we were to summarize what the representation of black women is right now, though that there are we are able to do content creation and stuff like that, is that it's it's only space for very few. They are often they often have to be shapely. They often have to, everything they do is aggressive. Even with Love Island, I think Laura, I can't remember her name, but she called, because Yowande was dancing, she called that, and she explained it. She said, she explained that the best way she felt like she could in it. But
I feel that was a fraudulent slip, but okay.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, there's certain things
like that. It's in her.
I feel like the base setting. The problem is that the base setting of how many people, the base setting of how people think is already problematic. I think that's what we're trying to change that. But like with all these things, like it just feels like that. I don't know. Like, even because I do want to just quickly jump so quickly back to like the whole question about like girls in music videos and stuff. The only reason why I'm calling on black men is because you lot dominate the music industry. This isn't a call out. This is a call to. Do you know what I mean? And like the reason why I'm saying that is because there's no point in getting into an argument with the only people that can help the thing, innit? If you say to the record, I'm not saying bring people who don't. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You understand what I mean? You really understand what I mean? Like, bring people, like, yo, these are the women that are around.
Can I just say, just quickly before you wrap up. At the same time, about media representation, we are not representing all. There's women that are winning as doctors. There's women that are winning in so many. We always focus on music videos. We always focus on the arts and all of that. Mate, black women are winning in so many like different areas of, and we're not focusing on that. We're like, oh, music videos. No, listen,
but that's because they're not media.
I know, but
we're talking about
media representation. We should be representing women that are doing.
How many 14-year-olds are looking at hospital roster list? They're looking at the music video.
Say that again?
How many 14-year-old little black girls are looking at the hospital roster list? They're looking at the music videos. That is a relevance.
Even in my workplace, I was astonished. Like, literally, I sat down in a meeting. There was the director, the head of service, the team manager, all the managers and team manager, all black women. Margie, I was standing there, and obviously there was all like, white corporate middle class men, and everyone was there in a mix. And these are all the higher top women, like in the local government, all there, and I was just like, oh shit, but this is not represented. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And we're winning in so many different areas of life, but the only thing that we see is the music.
I also feel like and that's really true what you're saying, but I also feel like in the media, if people are gonna run with culture, because the culture, black culture is appropriated a lot. If you're gonna run with black culture, then make sure that you're representing the people that you're taking the culture from.
I hear you.
They ain't never gonna do that.
Anyway, I think we spoke a lot about that, and just for me personally, I'm going to say it again: corrective promotion. Can you explain
what that means, just in case people don't?
For me, because
and I know what it means. It means that
at the beginning we spoke
thing,
about the problematic archetypes of a black woman. Corrective promotion is taking that and doing the absolute opposite of that. So it's making black women the object of desire in not just music videos, but I mean like in movies, making her vulnerable because we are vulnerable, making her emotional because we are emotional. We're not just angry. We exhibit all the emotions out there. So humanizing us. That kind of thing. And I think that is what is important. And I see that more and more in media now. And I hope it's not a trend or something like a marketing ploy. And also, I think as Black people, we need to stop relying on white people and other people to collectively promote ourselves. I think it's high time, because you will never find this in any other community where they're having to rely, like even Asian people, do they not do their own thing? I know we have Nollywood and all that stuff, but I mean, we're not at a point yet where Nollywood is touching, global levels. So I think here in the
films, I don't know whether.
I mean, some of them are kind of lit, but I'm just saying, in synopsis, as Black people, we hold the key to our own promotion, and that is very, very powerful and also quite liberating. And I think we need to remember that more often.
Yes.
But anyway, this has been Talk That Talk. Season 1, guys. Season 1. Make sure that you're following us and engaging with us, liking us, all that stuff. Subscribe and catch us in season 2.
My love is so good. You know that I'm